Hey again, first grade. We're going to continue today working with the paths from Hansel and Gretel. And today we're adding in an additional piece to our learning target. So we've previously been working on skip counting by 5s and 10s. But today our target is I can skip count by 2s, 5s, and 10s. So we're adding in counting by 2s. So we're going to continue with those paths. So yesterday you guys worked on coloring in and designing a path. And we talked about 3 components to that path. We said that there is a fence, which is worth 10 steps, a bench, which is worth 5 steps, and a flower pot, which is worth 1 step. So now that the paths are well marked and they have fences and pretty flowers along the way and nice benches to sit on, more people from the village started to take walks in the forest. And on the weekends, whole families brought their picnic baskets to the woods, and the forest rang out with the sounds of children laughing and playing. And pretty soon, Hansel and Gretel started finding garbage along the trail. Things like apple cores, orange and banana peels, old napkins, and they realized that they had forgotten to provide people with trash cans. So they took care of this right away, and now the paths had fences, benches, trash cans, and flower pots. So the trash cans are now worth 2 steps. Okay, so that's where our addition to our learning target comes in. Our trash cans are worth 2 steps. So just to go over it again, we're still using fences worth 10, benches worth 5 steps, trash cans worth 2 steps, and flower pots are 1 step. All right, so let's work through some of these problems together, and then I'll explain your job in your student book. So our first question is, how long is this section of the path? How do you know? So the first thing that I want to think about is what is along my path. I see a fence and a second fence. And I should know, fences are each worth 10 steps. So I need to figure out how many steps this whole section is, or 2 fences in all, and I have to explain how I know. So I want you to take a couple seconds, pause the video if you need extra think time, but I want you to work out how long is this section of the path with 2 fences. Okay, so I'm hoping that you realized that this fence is worth 10, this fence is worth 10, and 10 plus 10 is 20. So this section is 20 steps because 10 plus 10 is 20. So here's another one. Write and solve an addition equation to find out how long each path section is. So we're just going to do 2 of these. We're going to do this one and this one. I know it's hard to sit through when somebody's just talking at you, but let's start here. So now I see a bench, and a fence. So we have to write an addition equation to find out how long this section of the path is with a bench, and a fence. Okay, so I'm going to give you some time to think about it. Remember how many steps a bench is worth, how many steps a fence is worth, and think about an addition equation to figure out how long this section of the path is. So you're thinking about that addition equation. Okay, if you still need some time to think, pause the video. So when I'm looking at this, I see a bench worth 5, another bench worth 5, and a fence worth 10. So I'm going to count because I'm really an efficient counter, and I can count by 5s and I can add with 5s and 10s. So I see 5 plus another 5 is 10. So 5, 10, and now I have 10 plus 10 again. 10 plus 10 is 20. So this section of the path is 20 steps because 5 plus 5 plus 10 is 20. All right, let's go down here to this one. So on this path, I see a fence, 3 flower pots, a trash can, and a bench. So as a reminder, flower pots are worth 1 step. A trash can is worth 2 steps. So I'm going to give you about 30 seconds to think about an addition equation, adding these together. And then we'll come back together and solve it. Okay, let's take this step by step. If you need more think time, pause the video. All right, so I know that this fence is worth 10. 3 flower pots, which are each worth 1, are worth 3. Trash cans are worth 2, and a bench is worth 5. Okay, so I'm going to take this chunk by chunk. I'm going to start with 10 plus 3. Remember, my ones are lined up. So 10 plus 3, 0 plus 3 is 3. 110 plus 0 tens is 110. So 13, right? So I've added my 10 and my 3. Now let's add 2. So 13 plus 2. 3 ones plus 2 ones is 5 ones. 110 plus no tens is 110. So 13 plus 2 is 15. So I added my 10, my 3, and my 2. So now I'm at 15 plus another 5 for my bench. Remember to keep your ones stacked. So 5 ones plus 5 ones is 10 ones. So we talked about this yesterday. We can't write 10 ones. That doesn't work because this is the ones column. And when we hit 10 ones, we've created another group of 10. So we leave a 0 because 10 has 0 ones, and we carry our 10 over here to the tens column. So 1 plus 1 is 2, right? 110 plus 110 is 2 tens. So 15 plus 5 is 20. So this section of the path is 20 steps. I want to show you why you can't write 10. So 5 plus 5 is 10. We know that. If you wrote 10 like this, and then you went to add your tens, 110 plus 010 is 110, you would have created the number 110, which is not the same as 20. That's why we call it carrying. You leave your 0 ones and you carry your new group of tens over here. And you add it with your group of tens where it belongs. We will get a lot more practice with that later in the year, and you guys will get more practice with that in 2nd grade. So if you're looking at that and you're thinking, oh my gosh, that's really confusing, don't worry too much about it right now. At least just have some exposure and you'll get some more targeted practice in 2nd grade. All right, so your job is to design another path. We're on student book page 61. You're going to design another path, and there's different criteria now. So your job is to create 2 fence sections, so 2 fences, 4 benches, 5 trash cans, and 10 flower pots. Okay, so pick 4 different colors, 1 for your fence, 1 for your bench, 1 for your trash can, and 1 for your flower pot, and design a beautiful path that has 2 fences, 4 benches, 5 trash cans, and 10 flower pots. So remember, we would typically do this with Unifix cubes in the classroom so that you could play around before you colored. But we're very flexible, and it's completely fine if you color and you realize that you don't have enough room and you need to move things around. That's okay. This whole thing is just practice and working with 2s, 5s, and 10s. So don't overthink it and don't get stressed out that if you have to move things around. All right, once you're done, snap a picture of student book page 61 and send it over to me.